Hello and welcome back to the Top Music Attorney Music Business Podcast. I'm Miss Krystle. I'm very excited to be back. Next week, we're going to be at NAMM. I don't know if you know about NAMM. NAMM is annually in California, and Top Music Attorney Music Business School is going to be a vendor. So if anyone's going to be at NAMM, make sure you come and say hi. We're going to be there for 2 days. So I hope it's the place that we're all just going to have a chance to finally meet. Anywho, excited as you guys are checking in. Let me know where you're checking in from and what time it is. You know, tonight on the news, entertainment news stories that we're going to be covering, we got some behind the scenes information from P. Diddy related to a song that he had sampled by the police, and it's kind of funny as far as what he admitted to what he did and now what he has to pay. So this is a nice, what we need to keep in mind as producers, as artists. Yes, all the things. Hello in the chat. Where are you guys checking in from? Be safe if you're on the road, please. All right, Canada, very nice. New Zealand, one of my favorites. Thank you for being here. All right, and then also, let's see, what else are we talking about? There's other things. Let me look at my notes. We cover so much stuff on this show. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. And then also Mötley Crüe's original guitar player. We talked about an update. You know, he had developed this debilitating arthritic condition, and so he was kind of out of the band. He couldn't tour. And now, unfortunately, we have a lawsuit happening, and he's suing the band, and he's super pissed off. And you guys were definitely going to find this one interesting. As always, we're streaming all the places. Make sure you come over to our home on Top Music Attorney, YouTube. All right, 9 p.m. Oh, got it. Yes, safety first. Thank you very much. What's up, Travis? Canada, just in a restaurant, so sending a quick message. Hey, thanks for checking in. What are you having for dinner? If you're at a restaurant, are you having dinner? Are you having a drink? What's going on? Yeah. Thank you for the kind words in the chat, Winston. Appreciate you. Utah. All right, and then in our segment, I'm going to switch today around because I just keep doing this. I'm like having fun and kind of freestyle these shows, but I'll switch around the segments just a little bit because I'm always going to dive deep and actually go into music business mode, right? The goal is to help educate you guys so you can build what you're trying to do in the music business to 6 figures and beyond. And, I've done this for myself. I've done this working with other people. And so now we're teaching you how to do it for yourself for free. Okay. So in any case, for, the artist topics we're going to be talking about, I'm going to discuss why releasing music on Spotify is pointless. Okay. It's an interesting topic. We're going to be jumping into that. And then also, this is just so amazing. Okay. So, I am a real life entertainment attorney. I have a law firm. I do all the things throughout the week. And so it's fun sometimes to kind of like share some of the stories and things that are going on. So if you are a music producer, if you're a beat maker, if you're one that posts music online, we're going to talk about ways that you can really get paid posting your music only to YouTube. Okay, so we're going to go through all the things. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to run the intro, and then, of course, our show producer, that Orko, is going to be on with us, and we're going to get into all the things. So I will be right back. Hi guys, I'm Top Music Attorney Miss Krystle. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and creator of the Top Music Attorney School for artists and record labels. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent artist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss my weekly videos giving you my best tips on the music business, industry news updates, and teaching you how to stay legally protected. Let's go. Chaos and Conversations checking in from the podcast channel, listening, watching on the personal. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Yeah, so speaking of channel, look at the set design. Look at what you can see. Look at the whiteness. Look at the LEDs. Take it all in, kids, because I might be changing it. It might all be different by next week, and I'm pretty excited. This has been a work in progress, and I've been envisioning it. I've been thinking about it. I'm so excited. I can't give away too much, but just to say that the next time I come back, it might be completely different. I hope you guys love it. I hope it all comes out well and, that it all works. So that's what we're doing. I'm very excited about that. But yeah, we're going to be at NAMM. So if you are in California, Anaheim, I think we're there next Thursday, Friday. Those are the actual like vending days. Now, if you come to find my table, okay, make sure you do that. I'm gonna have like times where I'm actually giving presentations and running around and doing all the things. But also, we ordered banners, like those scrims where you can roll them up, right? And then they stand up and they're like 8 feet tall. And one of them has me on it, and it's the new profile picture. I don't know if you guys saw this. We posted it at the beginning of the week, and so updated it everywhere on all social media platforms. So anyway, we took that picture, and we're like, yes, they'll be great for one of the giant posters. It can be a giant Krystle. And it may or may not get here in time. So they sent us 2 of the other ones that I'm not on. And then I got an update. We ordered from Vistaprint. I'm not going to trying to throw them shade. Stuff happens. But anyway, they're like, oh, shoot, we resent it. It should be here, like a day after we leave. So we'll see what happens. There may or may not be an 8-foot me. We'll get into it. All right, so hello, all friends. Checking in. Where are you checking in from? What time is it? As always, Mark, thank you for being here. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to actually jump straight in. Oh, hey. Yes, and we will, but P.S., okay, we're taking the team, which is kind of fun. It's going to be like a little road trip. We got an Airbnb. It's going to be cute. But anyway, so on the team, we have video guy coming with us, and so we'll be running around, and we're going to be making a ton of content. And so my goal is to maybe do like a little mini check-in next week during the show live time, which may or may not happen. All of this is contingent on the internet, okay, and our Wi-Fi. So, I don't want to be all stressing out if the connection isn't working, but if it does, I would love to check in with you guys next week, and then we'll be like, hey, we're here. Take a look. Maybe we'll run around together. But worst case scenario, we'll have our video guy with us. We're going to be making a ton of content. And so, rest assured, you'll be with us one way or another. All right. With that being said, I'm going to switch things around just a teeny tiny bit today. Hang in there with me. And I want to do my artist tip segment first. How do you feel about that? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you're excited. Because we're going to be talking about why I think you should release your music only on YouTube. Okay? All right. Thank you very much. I see the love coming on through. You guys are so nice. All right. So let me pull this through. I'm going to give you the real student huddle experience. So with those who actually go into my music business program, we call it a student huddle because you guys are my students. But obviously those who are on the channel and who are watching live, you're my students too. So we'll just call it a student huddle 2.0. But anyway, I kind of shared this with the team today and the students. And so I kind of wanted to share it here before we get into the rest of the show. So let me just share my screen so you can see the things and we can talk about it. All right, here we go. On today's music business segment, this is why I think you should release your music solely on YouTube. All right, so this is really going to perk up your ears if you are a music producer or a beat maker, but also obviously if you're making music of any kind and posting it online, this is going to appeal to you because our whole mission on this channel and our whole goal is figuring out how to get you to 6 figures annually. Okay, so what I've been thinking about is what's happened with my actual clients as a real entertainment attorney, and the fact that I've heard this thing that I'm going to tell you that you can do for yourself has happened numerous times in recent months. And so because it is so easy, I'm going to share with you. So let me share my notes. Here we go. When it comes to being a producer, a beat maker, right? You can make your beats, your instrumentals, whatever it is that you're selling, and then you can post it on third-party websites. And a lot of the popular ones, we know Beat Broker, BeatStars, Insane Beats, and some of the kind of downsides to posting your stuff on third-party websites so that other people can license it or buy it is, well, those websites might charge you money. There's going to be fees. They also might require that you have your stuff exclusively on their profile, and then it might not be a good fit for you. And then lastly, and this is something that one of my students had shared today that I thought I would also share, you can't control the license agreement, okay? When you post your stuff on someone else's platform, they're going to have you basically use their license agreement. So that can result in issues. And I've literally had so many artists reach out to my office because they will license a song and they're like, what is this agreement that I signed that I got after the fact? So setting all of that aside, we're not going to go through third-party websites. We're going to do it for free on YouTube. Okay, and this is why this works. Now, we're going to take producer number 1 as our first example. So producer number 1, real story, had uploaded a handful of songs to YouTube, right? So just uploaded them kind of one at a time. And in the description and title of the video, the tags used for the video, they were basically just describing what the song was. Now, the songs, the instrumentals, happen to sound like certain songs that this underground popular indie artist does. And he was kind of one of the only producers that was doing this, okay? Because obviously if you're like, hey, Drake beats, so there's going to be a lot of people who are like, hey, you want a Drake beat? So there's a lot more competition. So what he did is he had posted these songs and they, we're talking about maybe 80 views on a video, maybe a couple hundred at best. And lo and behold, a major artist found one of his songs because he was looking for beats that sounded like this other artist that he was trying to find. Okay, so major artist contacts him, does a deal to get the beat, and the song ends up doing really well. And the song was released on all the music platforms. I think it got, closer to 10 million plays, not too shabby, right? So then producer is now participating in the ongoing royalties for that song. Amazing. But guess what? We talk about sync placements a lot on this show, getting your music into TV and film. So major artists ended up getting the song placed in a major commercial, okay? And so then clients, song gets a big placement and, person ends up making hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay? So when we're talking about life-changing, and he basically was like, life totally changed. I quit my 9-to-5. I bought a house. Producers are now contacting me. Major producers in the industry are contacting me because they heard the song. Like, amazing. Okay, so that's example number 1. Now, how do we do this? Let's actually take a look at what this looks like. Now, I had said, if you are doing Drake-type beats, there's going to be a lot kind of in the market as far as saturation. All right, let me pull this up. Sorry, one sec. All right. Oops, one sec. Sorry. I gotta share the entire screen, so here we go. All right, so if you do like a search on YouTube, here's one that I found. So it goes Drake type beat, right? And then there's a name, rap, trap, instrumental 2023. So this is a music producer. In the description, he has all the stuff in regards to where can you go purchase it, where, he's featuring it on BeatStars. He even puts chapters, right? So as you're going through, this is the beginning, this is the hook, this is the verse, contact information, email, and then a bunch of tags, right? So look, he's literally using these tags, Drake type beat, Drake beat, Drake instrumental. So these are the things that people are searching for when they are trying to find this type of song. Now, I'm going to point out just real quick on this because I found that a lot of people are doing this. He also just decided to, casually take some footage from, one of Drake's actual music videos. So you got to be careful about this, right? Because if you don't own the copyrighted thing, unless you fall under some fair use exception, which wouldn't really apply in this scenario, you might run into copyright issues. But in any case, so there you go. So you put it up, you have it kind of as a free advertisement, okay? And then people can go and purchase or license your song. Seems like a reasonable strategy to get your work purchased, right? So then let's move into example number 2. Example number 2 with this particular producer, he put it up as a free beat that people could go and use on YouTube. So the way that this practically works is that someone's going to go in, they're going to be like, great, I'll download your song. And then they release their song. And essentially, this is a non-exclusive limited license. Just because there's no actual written agreement, you still have an agreement that someone has put out their song, their instrumental, and said, hey, you can use it. And they might have restrictions, they might have instructions, but it's still limited. And the reason why this is not great for artists is because a producer can revoke the license at any point. So what happens? The song ends up going viral. And guess what? A major artist saw it and decided to use it. It does really well. It also gets over 8 million plays. It even wins awards. But we go back to the artist just used it. There was no written agreement. So what the producer ended up doing was coming back and saying, well, I didn't give you an actual license, therefore I want back pay. You ended up going and making likely hundreds of thousands of dollars, using it for all these things, and the artist doesn't really have anything to say. The label doesn't really have anything to say, so it becomes negotiation of what they're going to pay the producer, okay? All right, so with that all being said, as we're thinking about now just kind of exposure, how to market the music, well, on the flip side, you might be a producer or an artist or someone who likes to keep your music to your chest, right? And you're like, I'm not just going to put it out there for someone to steal it, right? Because on the flip side of this, you go, hey, it's a free beat. Everyone comes and takes it, right? And so if you are someone who's trying to kind of shop your stuff around more privately, you could go so far as to ask someone to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So they actually sign a contract saying, hey, I'm letting you listen to this, but you can't do anything with it until I tell you otherwise, until we sign an agreement. But for the producers who are kind of taking this tactic to post their stuff on YouTube as a way to advertise, what I am seeing them do is that they will utilize the copyright ID system, so the content ID system that is on YouTube. So what happens is that in one instance, if you go and you license a beat or you buy a beat and you upload it, and then let's say it's through CD Baby or DistroKid or TuneCore, and you have them claiming the monetization from YouTube, what they'll do is that they don't know about, someone else's use of that beat. So they will go and they will attach to other songs. And sometimes they go and attach to the videos of the actual producer who made it. So, what can happen is that if you are that producer, you're getting copyright claims. And then at which point you can actually look at who claimed it, right? And so you can, find the video of the artist who used your song. You can see if that person got a license. If they didn't, you can go and contact them to get a license. So there's ways to kind of strategize this from a business standpoint of how do we get exposed? How do we get people to pick up and buy or otherwise use our beats? Because we say, I have a lot of producers who will be fine with artists using their beat as long as they are credited, right? Because they're just trying to get the brand awareness out for what they're doing. So this is your takeaway. If, for example, you go on this kind of process and you are having people use your beats and instrumentals, whether they're paid or free, then when you get these claims through YouTube for the copyright, for the monetization, make sure you push back, right? Respond and appeal it. Now, the good news from what I'm hearing is that by and far, most producers are able to overcome the copyright issue because they're like, actually, I own the song and this person just licensed it. But again, it's good for kind of monitoring because then you know who's using the song when it pops up online. So if you are a producer, a beat maker, or someone who just kind of posts your music online, if you found that helpful, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up and definitely let me know. Are you releasing your music on YouTube? Down in the comments below. All right, let me go back to the chat. Hey. Hey. Thank you. All right, so with all that being said, let's bring in that Orko.
Hey. I still wasn't ready for that.
You got to be ready.
What's good, everybody? Thank you guys so much for being here. We are here each and every week to help you guys with your music careers. We love getting your questions, so make sure that you're dropping them in the chat. We are broadcasting to Facebook and to LinkedIn and to YouTube. So, but always remember, we want you over here on Top Music Attorney YouTube channel. This is where we broadcast from. So make sure that you are over here. But yeah, what's going on, Miss Krystle?
Living the dream. What'd you think about that tip? What do you think about posting music on YouTube?
I like it, and I like using things like BeatStars and YouTube as a way to kind of get your music out there. I don't necessarily recommend artists use free beats ever, like that they get, especially because they're not exclusive. So you're not doing this to fail. You want this song to blow up. You want your beat exclusively. You don't want something that literally every other rapper is using the beat because they're searching for free beats so they can just put anything out. So, I mean,
Well,
if
and
you
I
have a
even just
fire
threw
verse,
in, I just threw in that this is how it could backfire too, right? So if you're a producer, you could use it as a
yeah,
tactic to try to get back pay. But if you're an artist and you're like, wait, what? You posted your beat and you said it was free. So that's kind of a bait and switch.
yeah, no, I just I'm not really a fan for it other than just kind of getting your calling card out there and just so people are aware of you. Even with BeatStars, unless you're just selling your beats as like exclusive deals, I don't know. I would never. I personally wouldn't, as an artist, probably get something from BeatStars unless it was something I was getting that was exclusive. And then there's MP3 versus Wave versus Stem and how you get it. When you're downloading, when you're using the free beat from YouTube, you're just getting like an MP3 or you're ripping it. You're not getting the stems of it. So I just see so many problems for it. Like if you're just using it to practice with, I guess that's one thing. But if you have good lyrics, save it, get a real beat. Plenty of
I
places
really
you can
like
get
your
it.
shirt. Can I just say for a moment for those Bjork
Oh,
fans, how cute is this?
yeah. Hmm.
All right, so with that all being said, I kind of want to jump into the entertainment news stories, and I want to start with Motley Crüe.
Okay.
Motley Crue's guitarist we had updated was no longer going to be touring on the farewell tour with the band because unfortunately he had developed this debilitating arthritic condition. So that was the last time we updated on what's going on with them. Well, now the band's in this whole dispute because Mick is saying he got ripped off. So here's what happened. So on this farewell tour, Mick, he's now suing the band. And he's claiming that they kicked him out and ripped him off financially. So what happened?
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, like he's had this condition that he's always had, but it just kind of gets worse, and it's very difficult for him to play excessive shows and stuff. So he was just like, yeah, I'm still in the band. I still want to play, on the albums and write songs, and I could play a couple, one-off gigs here if there's like important things or whatever, but I can't, tour. And so they got John Five to come in. Um, but he was on the understanding that he was still getting a fourth of what they were going to be earning, and they were like, no, we're going to give you 5%, then that's good enough for you. You're not on tour, you're not making the money, why would you get any of this cash?
Yeah,
But
so Mick is saying that the band, like you had noted, cut the profit participation from 25% down to 5. And he's saying, I never agreed to that,
mhm,
right? That's not something that I otherwise would have thought was okay anyway, because he goes, just because I'm not touring, it doesn't mean I'm done forever with the band, right? And then, some other questions end up coming up with this for me because as a real entertainment attorney, I literally had a situation just like this where someone literally couldn't be in the country for a
yeah.
period of time. And so he was a partner and it happened to be a fourth partner in the band. So they replaced him. And it was for a number of years. And so from what he understood, he's like, I'm still a partner. But they stopped paying him. So in this instance with Mick, this is what he's saying. What's the band saying in response?
Yeah, no, they're just saying that, I mean, basically that they had an agreement where, they all said that in no event shall any resigning shareholder be entitled to receive any more monies attribute to live performances. So they're like saying that they already all sat there and agreed, and it's like, they're getting like really kind of petty with each other. Nikki Six was just saying like he can't play chords or something like on his guitar anymore, just saying how his guitar playing isn't,
So
great. And then
saying Mick
yeah,
can't
saying
play.
say
Oh.
he can't play as well anymore. And then, Mick is coming firing back, talking about how all of his parts on tour are just pre-recorded bass parts, and he's just up there faking it. They're getting crazy, like
Yeah, and
kind of
then
petty with it, and it
and
sucks
then
because they are a legendary. band. They are, have been active. I mean, there's been little times where they haven't been. For the most part, they've always been active. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like, it's tough. It's tough to have even John 5 up there instead of Mick Mars, but John 5 is amazing. So you're just kind of like, it's John 5,
Yeah.
but
Well, and then the attorney put out a statement. So this was updated just a few hours ago, saying, Mick's lawsuit is unfortunate and completely off base. In 2008, Mick voted for and
mm,
signed an agreement in which he and every other band member agreed that in no event, to your point on the quote, in no event shall any resigned shareholder be entitled to receive any monies attributable to live performances. So then my question would be, if I was looking at this, did he resign as a shareholder, right? So just because he decides not to continue with live performances, that doesn't mean you resign as an owner in a company necessarily.
and the tricky thing is you're getting updates from the attorney for the band. You know what I mean? So it's tough. Like, not that I want to make things difficult, because it's already hard enough making decisions as a band. But you kind of sometimes need to have some of your own representation at some point, because if you have one lawyer that is just explaining everything to everybody, now
Yeah.
they're bound by their duty to explain it correctly. But I mean, like, it's not necessarily looking for your personal best interest. It's looking for best, for in that case, I would imagine, just the best interest of the property, of the band, of the brand.
Of the band. And I'm so glad you made that point. So when bands hire me to represent them as their legal counsel, I actually have to put a conflict of interest waiver in the engagement letter. So I say, band as the entity is engaging me. I don't represent any one of you individually, right? So if
Yeah.
John screws over Bob, you
Yeah.
guys need to duke it out with your own
Yeah.
counsel, right? So that'd be a conflict of interest. So you're absolutely right, and you should always have your own separate counsel. So in this case, I would immediately go to the contract and just say, just because he didn't do tours, right? So we're talking about one tour that he backed out on. All of a sudden, he's not entitled to a share of the profits, and he should just take pennies,
Well,
is
it's
what he's
it
arguing.
right. No, and I don't know if I would say this about every band. I think and I'm not coming from a legal perspective personally. I'm coming from, like, maybe more of an emotional point. But, like, 25% is a lot of money to recur on tour that you're not even playing. Like, I mean, I think everybody can kind of look at that. 5% also seems a little low, because, like, he's such a part of that band. And, like, I would think that he had already put something in place with that band to assure that, for whatever reason they threw him out for anything, he still was earning from that band because of everything that he contributed, because they're essentially a legacy act
Yeah,
that's
and just I
still.
always assume with someone who has achieved so much, they've gotten proper legal counsel, and so that the agreement would say that we're talking about a partnership. I don't know what their agreement says. And sometimes it's just shocking what can happen and what they don't get their rights protected. So, maybe he contractually is not entitled to anything just because he didn't actually go on this tour.
But
And
I
I
don't
don't know
like
the answer
hearing
to
it.
that.
I don't like hearing it. I don't like hearing about it, but it happens. So
Yeah,
so
it's
so
funny,
what
and
do you
I'll
what do you think is going to end up happening with this?
No, and I'll end on this just by saying, it's interesting because as an attorney, I find that I err on the side of what is the best for, from a PR perspective to getting more business to finding harmony within the band. And in this case, if it's like, well, contractually, maybe he's not entitled to, 25%, right? And so we say, fine, take 5%. We're going to do this. We're being so nice to you. But
Right.
what's another way to bridge the gap here? What's another way so that we don't have basically a lifetime relationship or relationships completely
Mm,
fall apart, which to your point
that's
is
good.
what's happening.
Yeah.
So, we'll continue to see because now this is a lawsuit. So we will be following. All right, let's move on. For those of you who are checking in, where are you checking in from? And what time is it? All right, so
I
let's
got
move on
to see.
to.
Hold on. We got Keith here, and he is from Massachusetts. How is
Oh,
it in
I
Massachusetts?
already pulled Keith
Did you?
on.
Well, I was just
Yeah.
pulling that up because he's got another comment that he followed it up with, and he said he heard Mick stop playing because they were lip syncing on a previous tour. Now, to comment on that, as somebody who has seen Mötley Crüe, I mean, they always got a little bit on tape. There's a little bit on tape for sure. I don't fault them for that. You know what I mean? Like, it's 2023. If there's a little bit on tape, I'm not mad at it. I would be shocked to hear that Nicky had all of his bass on tape. I don't think that is the case, but you know what? I don't know. It would be a weird feeling if you're like the only guy that has his instrument on tape and you're up there kind of like, that's kind of a wild accusation. Some vocals, yeah, no, there's a few things on tape.
Yeah, and then I forgot to say this earlier in the show. So at the request of you guys and you guys only, we have now the official merch. You can get little cartoon Miss Krystle to enjoy coffee and tea and all the things with you. So if you want to check that out, just go to topmusicattorney.com. Hey, all right, so let's move on. We're going to be talking about Diddy. Diddy has revealed that he is paying Sting $5,000 a day for his sampling and use of the Police's song Every Breath You Take in Diddy's I'll Be Missing You. Okay?
Classic.
Now, the Police's Every Breath You Take, obviously massive hit. I think this was 83. And then Diddy thereafter sampled, basically, it was just a straight instrumental, right? The entire
Yeah, I mean, I think there was some, maybe some extra production and stuff like that. But and there was like I think it was like 112 and Faith. I know Faith Evans sang on it. So yeah, no, I mean it was I think it was more of an interpolation. I don't know if they actually straight up sampled it, but it might have actually been sampled.
Yes. So he didn't get a proper master use license. So what we do, guys, in this situation is we're gonna go, and if we want to sample a couple words, a guitar riff, anything that is in someone else's song, they own it. You have to go and get a license to use it in your song. So if you just do it, which we talk about like Kanye, right? We talk about these producers who, even at their level of success and notoriety and the fact that they've been sued for this stuff, they still do it.
But they're coming but hold on. But they're coming after Kanye on something like somebody will take like a little dialogue sample from a YouTube video. This was one of those situations where Diddy was doing a lot in like the 90s, where he just straight up taking sections of songs and make it like it's like he's not getting away with anything. He's taking a massive hit and he's releasing it. But yeah.
Are you coming in defense of Kanye right now? Is that what just happened?
No. I'm saying
when Kanye stole, was it?
You see, what had happened was.
So, obviously, great interpretation, all the things that Diddy did.
Yeah, both versions.
And Sting wasn't very happy about it. So anyway, this got revealed because Diddy was on the Breakfast Club. Charlemagne was interviewing him, and he's like, "Hey, didn't you have to pay?" And I think at the time he goes, "Yeah, I'm paying $2,000 a day for the sample." Now it was later revealed it's actually a little bit more than that. And let's do the quick math, shall we? What is that like?
Yeah,
over $1 million a year.
It's It's a crazy amount of money, and there's actually Sting that was on the Breakfast Club.
Oh no, it's just shy of 2 million, so 1.8 million.
Yeah, so Sting was on the Breakfast Club and he was asked if it was 200,000 a day, and then Diddy tweeted out that it was 5,000 a day. So Diddy,
okay, got it.
Yeah, so Sting was actually on the show, but crazy amount of money. I can't even but they obviously they're cool with each other. I even remember Sting performing the song with them at I think it was like the MTV Awards or something back in the day. So obviously they're cool. And then, obviously there's pictures, they've hung out and stuff, but pretty crazy, and why you need to kind of do your due diligence. And again, we're not doing, and it's a little bit different with him because he was already massive at that point, and it's just kind of foolish the way that even happened, because it wasn't like he was an independent artist that was just stealing something, just trying to get on, like a mixtape situation that got away from him. Obviously bad, but he was already Diddy at that point, so or Puff Daddy at that point. So yeah.
But they are in fact friends now.
Yes.
And guys, the way that I would look at this is to be happy about paying just shy of $2 million for a song. There's a cost benefit analysis here. So he is making that money up somewhere, right? So in not just streaming, right? Restreaming royalties, it's common for these huge songs to be making tens of thousands, if not more, per month, right? So that probably offsets some costs. And then, there might be some syncing opportunities as it's getting placement. So he needs to be at least breaking even for him to be okay with this.
So there's one more thing that I kind of wanted to add on here that I thought was kind of interesting. The main pieces of the song that Diddy sampled for I'll Be Missing You is the guitar riff. And that riff came from the Police's guitarist Andy Summers.
Mm-hmm.
But since Sting is credited as the sole songwriter of the song, Andy doesn't get anything from Diddy. So all the money is going to Sting, and his part isn't even the part that was sampled. Like as far as like the actual, like the guitar was sampled. So that's pretty crazy. And that in itself is just a lesson to all artists, or when you're in a band and you're just kind of like whatever, like you need to be thinking about yourselves and these kind of things too, as you're, you know, as you have rights to these songs and as you're giving away songwriting credits and stuff too. So interesting.
Yeah, so I'll end this with this word to you in the music business. You know, in the instance that, let's say, Diddy's going to be paying essentially almost $20 million over the next decade alone. Number one, this is why it's good to negotiate upfront, because you probably are going to pay less if you just did it the right way. But then number two, if you are a co-writer and you're like, you know, oh my gosh, you're going to pay me $100,000. That's amazing. Okay, I don't need any back end profit participation. Always try to get back end points so that when the song's a success and it makes money for the rest of human history, you will make money too. All right. So with that being said,
I think they both got money.
Yeah, right. I think that's the perfect segue into, now let's get into talking about how we can benefit you as artists, as producers, as people in the music business. So
hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Just I just want to make sure you're starting to break up a little bit. So I just want to make sure that you are all refreshed and ready to go on this.
Let's do it.
Just give it a quick little guy. So this is a great opportunity. If you haven't already, make sure that you hit like on the stream. If you haven't already, check in, let us know where you are checking in from. And remember that we are streaming this the show also on, you know, all streaming platforms if you want to listen to the audio version of the podcast. So make sure that you do all of that as well.
Yeah, to the gavel. Yeah, I try to. We're going to be making some changes, not just to, you know, the get up, but also to some things about the show. So things will be changing, guys. I'm super excited. But the gavel will just have to stay. I feel like it's the best way to end the segments. All right, so in this music business segment, I'm going to basically, and we're going to be discussing why releasing music on Spotlight. Let's just try that again.
That's a new platform.
Let me take a sippy here.
Perfect time to remind you, you can get that mug right now on the Top Music Attorney
I love my mug.
website.
I have one at my law office. Now it's the one that has that Orko and me. So we're next to each other. But I love my mugs.
there's shirts, there's all kinds of stuff in there. So make sure that you check that out. Now let's do a take two. Let me get a little sippy. Hello.
Yeah, everyone get your slippies.
Your slippy. You might need another. You might need another sippy. You might need another sippy. Something's happening. Something's happening right now. It's like the last.
Eric, I think this segment will be like something's happening.
No, I'm telling you. Like last week, it was a mess. It was a whole fiasco last week.
Was that last week?
I don't know, the pants incident. I couldn't get
it
together.
Yeah, the pants. It was hot. Ugh. I feel like I'm getting judged.
I don't know why. Make sure that you hit the top bell so you don't miss this show every week. You guys are crazy.
I am in the process of hiring a new attorney, and it's interesting because, you know, as like the boss, you want to make sure that you set the tone of what you expect and the professionalism and all of the things. But a part of me also is just like always going to be unapologetically myself, and you know,
it is what it is.
And I think you just got to do it. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Ashley, the pants.
The pants.
All right, you want to try again?
Let's do it.
In this music business segment, we're going to talk about why releasing music on Spotify is pointless. You ready for this?
Let's go.
All right, so number one, the reason why releasing your music on Spotify is pointless is because you don't take the time, which is about 30 minutes really, to set up your Spotify for Artists profile. Okay, Is this super difficult?
No, but it is a process that you have to go through, and I recently set it up for my artist producer page, and I thought it was going to actually be way more of, you know, a headache than it actually was. It didn't. It took like, you know, a few minutes actually to go do it.
Yeah, and collectively. So this is the first one. I'm going to talk about essentially 6 that work together and make it so that if you don't do these things, Spotify is useless for you. But if you
Mm.
do these things, your releases can be successful. So, number one, setting up the artist profile. So, just go and get it, log in. But
Mm.
then it's things like have a minimum of 2 to 3 profile pictures and make sure they're not super degraded, low quality photos, right? You don't have to go and hire a photographer, but if you can, upgrade your camera phone, right? Get something that looks at least somewhat decent. So 2 to 3 at least. Also, can we please get a little paragraph bio that you add? You absolutely should put it in your
Yes,
voicing.
yes.
Don't overinflate, but you're trying to engage the person who might like one of your songs that they stumbled
Mhm.
across and give them a reason why they should follow you. Are you kind of weird or interesting, or maybe you're just super fun and happy and you have a positive outlook? So give a bio that makes people interested in you. Link your social media. Okay. I need to be able to find you and love you and follow you. So link your Instagram and your Facebook and your TikTok if it's still in existence soon. And you can do things like also connect your Shopify. Okay. So you can sell stuff on the actual platform. And then last but not least, make sure that you are creating artist playlists. Okay. So if you create a playlist with like couple of your songs, but then some other artists that are similar to you, give someone a reason to kind of listen to your stuff. And Spotify is really happy when you take these steps because you're making Spotify look good. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, number two is, pitching to Spotify playlists. Now, this is something that you do, right? So, our kind of golden rule is to do this like 30 days before the song comes out. What would you say is probably like some of the most important stuff when you are pitching for Spotify official playlist consideration?
Think being short and concise with your actual there's a portion where you're selecting where your genres and all the different things in your categories, your song, but where the real pressure kind of feels like is where you're telling them what your promotional plans are for the song, and just like what the song kind of is, and because you're pitching it, you got to give it, but you have to do it in a concise way. You have to make it kind of interesting, and but it's the only way that you're going to get on an official Spotify playlist. There's a lot of playlists out there that will be like, we will put you on metal playlist, you know what I mean, and but it's not like a Spotify playlist. And a lot of time these submission things where you submit to playlists are just, you'll find that the people that are following the playlist are other artists that have submitted to be on that playlist. It's just kind of like a pyramid thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
So well, I'll give you some extra tips too, right? So you can also just remember that sometimes they're adding you an artist to lists weeks after the
yeah,
song actually has come out. So
yeah.
you have to get it in at least 30 days before your song drops, okay? But they might add you later on. So in your little pitch, anything that's kind of cool. Are you working with a cool producer? Is there a particular name? Were you on other playlists? Are you going on a big tour? Because a real person is looking at your
Right.
pitch. So it's really important that you just put your best foot forward, okay?
And remember, you're being pitched. There's like literally millions of songs probably being pitched every day to them. Because everybody is trying to get on these Spotify playlists, and so they are looking. They're checking. So your TikToks. Like, how is your TikTok doing? Have you made a viral sound? Kind of for that. Are you saying that you're promoting? Are they seeing that you're really promoting? Do you have any kind of buzz? And that doesn't necessarily mean anything either. You might just be in an oversaturated market, and make sure you're taking advantage of canvases as well, which are little short videos that you can upload to your thing. So you have a little visualizer that goes with your song, so.
Yeah, and playlist last one on this one. We're on number 2 right now, but playlist curators, not just official Spotify playlist curators, but all the playlist curators. A part of what they're going to do is that if they are interested in you and your song, they probably are going to click through to your Instagram, to one of your social medias, and it actually makes a difference, right? So we had one official from Spotify talking about, you need to make sure that the actual Instagram that you have matches the feel, the sonic
Yep.
vibe of what you're doing. If you're like a death metal
Right.
rock artist and your profile is like, oh, look at my kids and this is my wife, like that's all fine, but that doesn't quite match. So that does in fact impact it. So when you're pitching, most important is what you actually send. You want to send it 30 or plus more days, okay? And you want to make sure that your social media kind of matches what you're doing.
I love that. It's so important. I never say this, but I actually click through a lot on Spotify because I discover artists all the time on Spotify, and that's the first thing I look at their bio. So have a fun bio because I look at your bio, so don't make it all stiff. But I click to their social because that's where I'm like, oh, how's this artist doing? Now I'm gonna go over to Instagram. That's the first place I go from Spotify, and I actually click
Yeah.
through a lot of
And
artists. So update it.
so does the Spotify playlist curators. All right, so then number 3 on why releasing music on Spotify is pointless if you don't do these things. Number 3 is going to be getting the actual Spotify algorithm to love you. Okay, this is how you're going to do it. So you can actually look this up. It's Music Stacks. Okay, so music and then stax.com. I'll pull it up while we're chatting, but musicstacks.com. You can look yourself up. You can literally look up your song and see where you sit on the popularity scale. And also, it's kind of cool because it tells you like the BPM, the key of your song, all kinds of things. So you can look at that just to get some metrics, but the actual algorithm is impacted by the following. Number 1, are people listening to the song on repeat? Okay, so the length of time, it's just like YouTube. The length of time that they actually stay on the song matters. So if you are paying for bots to go and get you fake streams, the bot is going to play the song for a few seconds and then click off. So that actually murders your algorithm.
Works against you. And they know that you're doing it too. Like Spotify is like the most
smart.
advanced system, you know what I mean, for this stuff. They know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't think they have a content ID system in place in the same kind of way that like YouTube does for monitoring copyright, but they have other ways of dealing with copyright infringement. All right, so we're going to make sure people are putting the song on repeat. Okay. Now, if you are a small artist with a small audience, because your audience will go and play the song and add it to their own playlists and do those small things, that's going to help with the algorithm and it's going to trigger new song discovery, which we're going to talk about in a second. Okay.
So can you just elaborate just a little bit more on that and just like how important it is to have your audience add it to their personal playlists, like as part of the campaign? So when you're doing it, you don't just want you want the pre-saves, right? You want those. You want the actual streams and of the day. You want them to heart it, and you want them to go the extra mile and just add it to one of their playlists because Spotify will count those. They'll know, and then they'll go like, oh, what's going on here? Especially if you're getting it going, you know, if you're running a campaign over a couple of weeks period and you're just constantly growing that up, you might get that ad later.
Yeah. So, and we'll talk about this in one of the next sections. So as far as the importance of pre-saves, but real fast, I promise to show you Music Stacks. This is Music Stacks. So you go in, you go to this home. I just put in Drake. So Drake, we're looking at Rich Flex. And so you go down, it gives you some info. How long's the song? What's the tempo? What's the key? How loud is it? So it gives you lots of fun things. But then here's the popularity score as it relates to Spotify. And then there's some other stuff. So you can actually get pretty transparent metrics just to kind of see how your stuff is lining up with other stuff on Spotify.
And you can also use those kind of things to when you're making music. Not that you should just kind of try to cater and try to do an audience, but as you're pitching, as you're looking at different playlists that are popular, like you're kind of thinking what would fit on these playlists. Like if you're in a completely different genre, but you're trying to get pitched for a certain thing or whatever, or you think like if you're just so out there, just remember those things.
Yeah, and that's if you're going to like self-curated playlists, right? So that are non-Spotify. Anyway, moving on. Now let's talk about the fourth thing that you're not doing, which is why it's pointless for you to release music on Spotify. And that's you're not emailing your fans at midnight. Think about this for a second. Everything we're talking about, including with pre-saves, which I'm just going to dive into right now, you get people to pre-save as much as possible because what it does is as soon as the song comes out, because it's pre-saved, it dumps into the person's Spotify and it counts as a play. So they actually get all those plays right away, which tells Spotify consumption of the song is high. People are loving this. So that helps. But then also if you are getting people through like your email list or if you do text messaging, I don't know what you do. Wherever you kind of own your audience, and if it's email, send them an email right at midnight. Because if you wait 8 or 10 hours later until the next morning when you wake up, now it's told Spotify that no one listened to your song until all these hours later. So again, getting people to go and play it immediately and then also posting on your social media immediately, super important. Okay?
Which
So that's
sometimes
number
can be
4.
easier said than done because you kind of have to educate your audience at a certain point. So if you think you're just going to
Yep.
post a picture and you're like, hey, I need you to pre-save this, and you're going to do some long story, people will they'll just see the picture and they'll just hit it. It's kind of like that's why you should utilize your lives anyway. If you're an artist, your live feature on all the platforms and your stories that are kind of temporary things, and just kind of use those for video things and explain to them why it's so important and what it actually does, and include a link. Make it as easy for your audience as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So as far as kind of getting the people in right away, super, super important. So then I think we're on number 5 now. I lost track. So now it's release day.
Mm.
Okay. And so since it's release day, you have to have time to respond to everyone on all the social media platforms all day long and be DMing, because again, it's that activity that's going to generate the interest and tells Spotify, hey, people love the song, right? The 100 people who heard it, 99 of them listened to it all the way through, and some of them, repeated it. So be on social media, be posting multiple times, and then that's what actually puts you on the release radar on Spotify.
You want
What
that?
does release radar do?
I'll tell you what, release radar is probably my most important playlist that I have, that I check every Friday as soon as something goes, that's one of my artists that I follow or something that it really wants to suggest to me. My release radar rarely gets it wrong for me. So that's why
Mhm.
it's one that I'm always going to. If it's discovered new artists, if it's, just letting me know, I didn't even know a release came out because I'm not paying attention to everything that comes on social media. So important. You want to be on that release radar because that goes in everybody's personal thing. So that's why it's so important that they're following you. They're not just going to your song and listening to it. You always want to encourage active participation with your pages. Anything.
Yeah.
Clicking, if they only click 1 out of 5 things, like get that one thing. Just get it clicked.
Yeah, and so we had talked as far as the first part of this, get on Spotify for Artists, because it also tells you all your metrics, right? So this is on the homepage of
Mm.
my phone, so I remember to look at it fairly regularly because it tells you what playlist are you on, when did you have spikes, what are your literal plays every single day, and did you get on release radar? How many people heard you through the release radar? All the things.
And it's
So
an
make sure you
app,
go
so
and get
yeah,
it.
you can have it on your phone. Yeah, you can have it on your phone. You can look at it
Yep.
on the web, so it's super convenient. So like
Yep.
if you're just chilling in an airport or whatever it is you're doing, you can check your analytics.
Absolutely. Okay. And then the last thing when it comes to if you aren't doing this collectively with all the other things, it's pointless for you to release music on Spotify, and that's you're not advertising it, right? So this goes
Mm.
hand in hand with not just kind of promoting it, but Spotify Marquee, right? So this is a tool where you can
Mhm.
literally advertise through Spotify. And although I don't want you going and dumping money into paid ads, which may or may not have a return for you, again, if we're thinking about the timing of this, if we are promoting it to your fans, right, as soon as the song comes out, that's going to drive up streams. So
Right.
that can potentially help the algorithm. It can help us to get on that release radar. And, the only thing you should know is that you need to have at least 1,000 followers on Spotify in order to use that tool. But
I
collectively,
mean, would
if you
you
do all these things, then you're going to have a much stronger release. People are going to hear your release, right?
mm.
And you'll want to release more music.
No, I think that's it. You have to do it right. And if you're promoting your song, if you're doing a 30-day promotion, then if you've seen other videos, we tell you that you should kind of leak your little bit of your song. You've already released some shorts to it, and so that's a great tool. We have other episodes on this channel talking about marketing and ads and how you should actually put your money in and how you do them. But if you're testing the market with your hardcore audience and you're seeing a big response from little snippets that you're playing, that's telling you that you should probably dump some money into it because it's working with your
Yep.
audience. They're responding. Like always, if you're testing this stuff out, we always tell you, test the stuff out to determine. Your audience will tell you what you need to advertise to the rest of the world. Get your audience reaction first.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so Amber had a great question. Let me hit this. Do you do this if you're just starting out and trying things out? So to your point, you had said kind of doing market research if you have new releases.
Mm.
Every single time you have a new release, do all these things and you're going to figure out what works for your audience. What did you do good? What didn't you do good? If you don't do any of this, it's pointless for you to release your music on Spotify. All right. So, with that all being said, speaking of music, I had a new release. So, we're going to watch a music video together. But before we go, we have a free PDF for you. If you're trying to kind of learn about the music business, it's great for you because I'm teaching you keywords, 28 keywords that you have to know and understand in the music business. And then I give you some tips about those. So that's down in the description. Please get that. And then that gets you on the email list. So you get all the updates, all the free things as we send them out. What am I forgetting? Oh, yeah, there you go.
I couldn't find it. I have so many things are changing on the show. Everything's getting
Things are
revamped. I have so many assets going on. But I just wanted to if you guys are artists and you are checking the show out on a replay, let us know what you're up to. Do your questions, throw them down in the comments because we will come back and answer them. We're trying to get way more into the whole talking with you guys and making sure that you're getting all the questions answered that you need.
Very good. All right, so we're going to get out of here, but we're going to watch Something in the Way, which is my latest single and music video, and I appreciate the love that you guys have been putting on this. So, I like talking about logistical things of especially activating algorithms and how to get stuff out there, because even with this music video, we caught a little virality, and, within the first couple of days, we'd had several 100,000 views on it, which was super cool. And again, you can look at the metrics, you can see what happened and where it went viral, and it's super cool. So we'll watch it all together. But yeah, be on the socials. So for next week, we're going to be at NAMM. I already shared that. So if stuff's too crazy, we won't jump on. So that'll be the only reason you don't see my face. But I'm going to try because I want you guys to be a part of what we do. It's going to be fun. But with all that being said, I will be on social media. So make sure you check your stories. I'm on Instagram for Miss Krystle Live and Top Music Attorney. Definitely the most. All right. With that being said, I love your faces. I'll see you when I see you. And I'll be in the chat watching a music video with you. Bye, guys.